Ford Escape XLT. I'm looking to do the CV axle on this. Taking the wheel off. It's 19mm lug nuts. Have the car on the ground first and break them all loose, and then you can use your jack probably and jack up the car a little bit and remove the lug nuts. 5 of them. Take that off. Then we'll take off this bolt here. So when you break this nut loose, you can maybe use a screwdriver and jam it in here. It's got grooves on the other side. You probably stick a screwdriver in here, and that'll hold it all in place while you break this loose. And that is a 1 1/4 inch socket that I use. I'm sure I'll try and post a metric version up on the screen here for you. We'll get that loose. Then we'll probably want to undo this nut and bolt set up here for the lower ball joint. You'll need a pry bar, and it's optional. Some people do this. Tie rod in too. Just take the cotter key out. I'll give you some sizes here in a second. So I'm going to have to go with about 18mm on this nut here, and then 14mm nut here, and a 15mm for the bolt. So we'll hold the bolt in place, and we'll take this nut off, and we'll try and drive it out of there. So I've been working with a pry bar and getting this out. Take a little bit of work. I do have a pretty big pry bar I'm going to use though, and some lubricant may or may not help if you have some of that sprayed in there. But I've been working a pry bar right in here, prying it loose. There's a hole. You may be able to get a pry bar in there and use that. Not so much that way.
He was worried on the bolt joint. Hey, did you know there's a bolt?
Is there a... Oh, the bolt's supposed to come off? Oh.
Yeah, as you prove, it's not necessary.
So that's a pry bar I usually use. I'm sure smart guys around here would have a better way of doing it, but I got this nice pry bar. The shaft isn't exactly coming through on its own, so I'm using a hammer and tapping it through. Always make sure you put the nut on there so you don't damage the threads when you're tapping on that. If you damage the threads, you just get yourself in trouble. Of course, I might tap gently on it. So we've got it off now. So I'm reaching in here, there's two 13mm nuts on a bracket in there, so I'm reaching in there and getting them loose. Using an extension and a swivel and got them loose. That's not necessarily really helping, it doesn't look like. So that was fun. I'm going to try and get on the back side of this with a pry bar through this exhaust spot here. Get on this little heel piece and try and pound this off. This should just be a friction fit in there. You can see it's coming off there. Oh, the whole thing's coming off. Well, that's good too. I guess we'll see how you, I honestly don't know what you get for parts. You see the two studs there for the 13mm bolts. And so the whole assembly came out of the transmission. But you can see that's how it should go. Can come apart. So that's taking off the right front axle on a Ford Escape. And then you can just line things back on, and probably have to pound that back on, and reverse the procedure to install your CV axle. Lug nuts are about 100 foot-pounds.